Okay, so again, today's playlist is called Today's Playlist. First song is View of Wisdom. We'll get started at a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and you can press your buttons. Okay. We'll start with a little seated meditation, and since most of the class, so you'll need some blocks today, or you don't need them, but it's helpful. We'll start on them. So one of my favorite ways of sitting on blocks when I don't have my meditation cushion available to me is to take 2 blocks, place them in a V, then sit up on top. Almost as comfortable as a meditation pillow, not quite. And just begin to settle. And notice what the body needs. So for me, as I was saying, I've been talking about lately, because it's a ritual I've obviously started for myself, which is to take my inner thighs and pull them out. Okay, that for me immediately kind of roots me down a little bit more. It creates more space for me to sit on. But I think it's also just become something that takes me in a little bit more. So interesting when we start to find these little, oddities or kinks or whatever, ticks that we do for ways in. And that's one of mine, so enjoy it. I hope it works for you as well. You don't have to do it, see if it works, and then if it does, great. And then from that space that I've created, it's easy for me to notice if I'm leaning forward or if I'm leaning too far back. And what I'm looking for is the connection of the 4 corners of the sits bones rooting into the floor. Find the tailbone reaching towards the mat, and in this position on the blocks, the tailbone is not connected to anything. So think of it just dropping towards the floor, and you'll feel the sacrum just lengthening downwards. You'll also start to feel the low belly muscles engage. Excellent. Then we just start to follow our breaths. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose. Starting to notice the pattern of our breath. Is it easy? Is it just moving right up and down? Is there halts or stops that we should pay attention to? Can we feel the sensation of the breath touch everything about us? Or are there spots that are feeling a little left out? Couple more breaths here. So you'll start to notice that you've created a nice rhythm, nice pattern for your breathing now, which is exactly what we're looking for as we begin our practice. If you notice that there has been a persistent area in the body that's just not reacting the way you would, let's say, prefer it to react, this is the area, as you set your intention, that you're going to be mindful of today in your practice. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that maybe today pay a little extra attention to it. So bring your hands to your heart. Take a moment to set in your intention as already in the present tense. I am doing this for myself during my practice today. I am doing fill in the blank. Beautiful. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, just seal the intention into your heart. We're going to release our hands and just cross our feet the opposite direction. I'm going to take our right hand to our left knee, and if you are sitting up, this will make it a little bit easier. If your fingers don't hit the floor, find something that makes them so that you can press down and lengthen up. And then just start to spin yourself up and around. So not back towards that left hand, but up towards the ceiling. Let's take our chin and look over our back shoulder. Use the left hand to prop you up a little taller, and then look over your front shoulder, feeling your back shoulder lengthen away from the chin. And then let's do some nods, yes. Beautiful. Inhale, lift the head back up through neutral. Take the left hand, take it all the way over towards the right knee and round back into a cat pose. Let the head go. Take a few breaths here, maybe each breath feeling that there's a little bit more space being found between each and every vertebra. We inhale, we're going to roll ourselves back up. Take the arms up and just wrap them together. And if the hands don't come together, maybe the backs of the hands do. And of course, if none of them match, then the elbows certainly do. And you can just move the elbows. Here we're moving the fingers, lifting the fingers up towards the ceiling, and then bringing the elbows down towards the floor. And do that a few times. So this one is such a nice stretch for the shoulder blades. If you're sitting in front of a computer for a while, this one always works. Excellent. One last time. And then release the arms, give them a stretch. And we'll take the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind. Again, use the right hand to help prop you up a little taller. Make sure you're still sitting perpendicular to the floor as opposed to leaning forward or back. And then using the hand, start to spiral yourself around, lengthening your crown of the head up towards the sky. We'll look over our back shoulder, exhale. And then as we inhale, we'll turn the chin to move over the front shoulder. And as we do that, feel that right shoulder draw back in space. And here we can add a little bit of nodding. Beautiful. Come back through center. We're going to take that back hand and reach it all the way around towards that left knee and round back cat pose. One last breath here, really feeling a good stretch between each of the vertebrae. And then as you inhale, we'll roll ourselves back up and take the arms into that position there. You're bound either half full or not at all. And start to move the elbows or the fingers, depending on what your position you're in. And feel how this kind of moves around the right shoulder blade. Both shoulder blades move, but the right one gets the best of it. Excellent. All right, last one. And then release, stretch up. And then let's just take our hands to the floor, uncross our legs, and just start to roll yourself forward, moving the blocks off to the side. Walk yourself back, and just stretch yourself in downward dog for a moment. And then start to walk your hands towards the back of the mat. And set your feet up, make sure that they're about hip-width apart. You can take your fingers and just press down through the mounds of the big toe, mound of the baby toe. You can feel take your hands now and press down through the inner and outer ankle, inner and outer heel, whatever makes more sense to you. Let the back of the neck be long. And then take your hands and just plant them right on top of your feet. Warm up your feet a little bit. And feel the power of warmth and rooting into the feet, and see if you can imagine that your tailbone and pelvic bones are also starting to root right down through your feet. If this bothers your hamstrings at all, bend your knees a little bit more. If it doesn't bother your hamstrings and you want a little stretch for the hamstrings, just tuck the tailbone down. And then as you inhale, start to lift the tailbone up. Exhale, touch the tail, or reach the tailbone down. And inhale up. This time as we drop the tailbone down, we're just going to start to drop the head as well, if it's not, and press down to the feet, feeling as the power of the force down is starting to roll you up. It's helping you lift up. And feel how rooted those feet feel as you lift your arms up over the head. To reach the right arm a little higher than the left, pressing the right foot a little deeper into the floor. And then we'll take the left side up. The right side up again. And this time if you want to take that left arm down, reaching the hand towards the floor as the right side lifts up towards the sky. And then the second side, reaching up. Reaching the right hand down. Excellent. Both arms lift back up again. And as we exhale, we're going to start to fold. Take your hands to your heart first. And then drop the head towards the hands and start to feel. Bend the knees a little bit and see if you can articulate movement through each vertebrae on its own. Take your time. I'm going to take off my sweater. Notice some vertebrae is very easy to move on its own. Notice that others not so easy. Bring your hands back down to the floor. We'll start to walk our hands forward, coming into downward facing dog. All right, so the first of our interesting little fun things with our block. So if you have an issue with all of the weight of your body ending up in your shoulders in downward facing dog, place the blocks underneath your hands for a second. I'll do it on the side count. So with your hands on blocks, with a little extra height in your hands, notice how much more of the weight goes into your legs, which is great as long as your calves are not too tight. But this should make this pose feel just a little bit different, maybe easier for some, maybe more challenging for others. Here, let's press down through the right heel a little bit more, really starting to stretch through the right calf muscle. You can bend that knee, the left knee a little bit more, and draw that right hip back towards the wall behind you. Lots of big stretching through the back side of that right leg. Beautiful. We'll bend that knee as we move to center again, reaching through both legs. Reaching both heels down, and then we'll bend our right leg, pressing the left heel into the floor a little bit more. Trying to level off the body, reaching equally through both hands forward. And then if you want a little bit more, as you bend the right knee a little bit more, draw the outer left hip back ever so slightly for lots of stretch through the back side of that leg. Beautiful. To come out of this, bend that knee again, and then press through both heels. Let's take our right leg forward between our blocks. And you can lift the blocks up a little higher if you want. From that back heel, lengthen the crown of the head forward. Feel the upper outer arms draw back, and now pull the legs towards each other. Start to feel that you've got some containment as you pull the legs towards each other so that you can balance relatively comfortably. You can start to move the hips around a little bit from side to side. Beautiful, and then come back through center, start to maybe straighten that front leg. How does that feel? If it's too much, you can bend and straighten until it starts to feel as if you can stay in that straight place for about 2 breaths. And then come up into a flat back, reaching the crown of the head and the tailbone away from one another, still upper arms drawing back. So again, you're either staying or you're moving for another 3 breaths. 2 and 3. Beautiful. We'll press that right foot into the floor as we remove our blocks to the side, stretch yourselves back and into plank pose. So, roll yourself forward, press out to the heels, and from your heels, lengthen out through the crown of the head. Tap the right knee down. Inhale, roll the knee back up. Tap the left knee down. And back up. One more set. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bend the elbows and come all the way down to the floor. Tops of the feet are flat. Take the arms wider forward. Find the shoulder loop. And then pull the hands back or forward. Whatever makes the more sense for you to feel as if you can literally peel yourself off your mat. And once you get up high, notice what's going on in your butt. Are you squeezing your butt? Can you soften the butt? Can you feel the inner thighs kind of spiral up and away from each other? And then feel your heart being drawn forward. Maybe bend the elbows a little bit more. One last breath here. And then lower back down. So now we'll move a few times. Inhale, roll up. And exhale, roll back down. Inhale, roll up. And down. Last one. Slide the hands back. Press hands and knees, or maybe hands and toes into the floor as you lift up. And back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Let's look forward. Let's take our blocks back. Line them up with our hands, and then we'll take our left leg forward as we bring our hands back onto the blocks. Pull the legs towards each other. Pull the the left shin back towards the right foot back towards the left shin, and then start to move around here a little bit. Side to side, up and down. You may notice they're not the exact same. You may need to take a little bit more time moving on this side. That's fine. You may realize that you walk up into this person and go, oh, I can stay here. And lengthen the head and the tailbone away from one another as the upper arms draw back, and stay and be in this place of this trigger spot. Beautiful. Exhale, roll back down. This time, bring the blocks with you, roll them onto the higher setting, and then press into the left leg, bring the right foot forward and fold. Inhale into your flat back using your blocks, and let's walk our blocks a little bit more forward so that the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. And we're going to take that right leg and lift it up and back behind us. Now the standing leg loves to lock. That's a locked knee. And I want you to not do that. It's really hard on the leg. No need to either. Also, I find that it doesn't really allow the muscles to work. It just sets you up for a little easier time of it, but not great. Now from the inner right thigh, out to the heel, reach that foot back, and lengthen the crown of the head forward. Feel the hips and ribs draw towards each other. Start to open that right hip out to the right. Exhale, roll that leg back down. So work for your glutes here. Roll the right hip out to the right. Exhale, inner thigh, that right leg spins back up towards the ceiling. Do that 2 more times. Beautiful. Excellent. Now this time as we do it, we're going to hold it, and you can stay just like this, or you can start to take that right arm up towards the sky. Press down to the left big toe mound, lengthen the heel and the head away from one another. One last breath. And then we'll slowly bring that head back down as you spin the inner right thigh back up towards the ceiling, softening through that left leg. Round in, nose to knee. Inhale, stretch that leg out, and if you want to take the left arm and reach it away, you can. Round in and out. A few more like that. 2 more. Last one. Excellent. Now hold here, or hold here with your hands on the floor, or blocks. And then we're going to see if we can transfer the weight from our hands into our right leg. So we're going to reach that leg back, lengthen the crown of the head forward, take one hand to your heart and see, it almost feels impossible. But if you press down through now the standing leg, you can lift it. Ooh, big boom. Bend that left knee, tap that foot down, sweep up, high lunge. Good work. Ooh. Exhale, both hands to the floor, move through a vinyasa. Excellent. Look forward, we're going to take our right leg forward. Take your hands to your blocks. Lift yourself up, you're in a half moon or warrior 3 with your hands on blocks. From here again, make sure that the standing leg, which is your right leg now, is soft, not locked. There's a little bit of a bounce in it. And then as you tuck the right tailbone under, the left hip lifts up to the left. As we exhale, we spin the inner thigh back to neutral. Keep going. Inhale, open. And exhale, back. 3, 4, and last one. Beautiful. Hold here, lengthen. Draw the knee and nose in, yeah. And then stretch it up and back. And if you want, you can add your right arm. You don't have to, it's extra. Elbow and knee round in. Inhale, stretch it up and away. Exhale, nose and knee. Inhale, up and away. 2 more. And last one. Good stuff. Okay, so from here, reach out to that back heel. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Maybe one hand comes, maybe they don't. So maybe you just bend your knee with that left hand on the floor. You'll know if it's available. Do it, and then lengthen, reach that leg back, plant that foot. You're in a lunge. Nice. Exhale, both hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Okay. So, a little stretch for the shoulders now. We're going to drop onto our knees. So, Rosemary, you can do this one up against a wall. You're going to take your blocks on their second height. So, you would, of course, not be using blocks on the wall. Bring your elbows towards the outside of the blocks. Now, this should, you shouldn't be right on the elbow bones, a little bit more, I would say, on the top. Right above the elbow. And then once in this position, bring the palms together and start to walk the knees back. Your head kind of just misses the blocks as it drops towards the floor. Feel your upper arms drop back. And then start to bring your thumbs back towards your shoulders. So I love this one. Although I find sometimes it does give me a bit of discomfort on my elbows. So if that's happening, usually what I'll do is just add an extra blanket to on top of the blocks, because it's usually just a matter of I need, I'm delicate. I need a little extra cushioning. All right, from here, reach the arms forward, plant them to the floor, make your way up. We're just going to add one last little twist, a little thread the needle, make your knees a little wide, plant the left hand, take the right arm out to the side and just open yourself up big. Exhale, sweep that hand through the space between arm and leg. And then do 3 more like that. Inhale, sweep up, and exhale down. So notice when you're coming up, if you're Wrist is trying to move your arm, or if it's your belly, and try to make it your belly. Try to just keep the shoulder very comfortably moving into the shoulder girdle. When you come to the third one, hold the position where your arm is on the ground. Press the right arm into the floor. Feel that stretch through the right shoulder. If you want a little bit more, take the left arm, lift it up, and just wrap it around. Grab a hold of the right hip. And then you can start to lift that left elbow up towards the sky. If your neck bothers you, make sure the chin is back down towards the chest a little bit more. One more breath here. As we inhale and come up, plant that left hand, open yourself up. One extra breath up here, lots of space in this breath and this inhale. And then take that hand back down. We'll move to the second side, taking the left arm up. Exhale, sweep it through the space between right arm, right knee, and then keep going a few times. This will be our last one. We'll inhale, lift up, and as we exhale, we'll come down, resting. Pressing the left hand a little bit more into the floor for a deeper stretch. Keeping the right hand where it is or taking it up towards the sky, spinning it and bringing it back behind you. Elbow lifting up towards the ceiling, chin towards the chest. Breathe. Excellent. We'll release that arm. Take it back down. As we plant it, we'll take the left arm and sweep it all the way up towards the sky, opening up through the whole front chest, taking an extra breath up here. And then both hands find the floor, step back. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Let's start to walk our hands back towards the back of the mat, coming into a forward fold. Have your feet about hip width apart again. And inhale, start to roll yourself up. As you press the heels into the floor, lift the arms up over the head. Grab hold of the right wrist this time and lengthen up and over to the left. And if you want, we can add a little balance to this by starting to slide that right foot out to the side. Toe starts pointed. Again, make sure that the left knee is not locked. And when you feel your heart really lifting up towards that hand in the air, notice that the toes don't have to be on the floor. You can press the heel towards the mat instead, now that it's off the floor. Reach the shoulders back equally against that imaginary wall behind you. One more breath like this. And then plant that foot back down to the floor, slide yourself back, and release the arms. Give yourself a nice little neck and shoulder release. Sweep the arms back up again, we'll move to the second side. So we lift the left arm up, drop the shoulder, start to reach the arms up and over the head to the right. Lengthen the heart up as we slide that left foot out. And the toes start on the floor, but as we reach the heart, they can lift up and then just press the heel down towards the floor, away from the fingers. Breathe. Left and right shoulder, both on the imaginary wall behind you, same level. One last breath. Then we'll point that toe, slide it back, lift up, exhale both hands to your heart. Heart up into your hands as you inhale, and then again we'll roll down one vertebrae at a time. Trying to notice, is it getting any easier to articulate the movement in the spine as we've been doing this for the last couple of weeks? And yeah, you start to feel a little bit more mobility, which is exactly what we're looking for. Touch the toes. We're going to inhale, roll ourselves all the way back up again. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart again, and we'll roll back down one last time. See if it's even easier this time. So that's what we're looking for. Just sometimes it happens that it becomes easier. Sometimes you're just stuck in there. Both give us something to learn, to tell you the truth. So as we fold forward again, let's walk our hands back forward, coming into downward facing dog one last time. Well, that's not too many last times, but
right now. As we inhale, we're going to take our right leg and lift it all the way up and back behind us. As we exhale, let's take it forward towards our right thumb. We're going to inhale, sweep up into a lunge. So bend that back knee if you need to and pull the bottom ribs and the hips towards each other. Okay, from here, if you can now start to straighten that back leg, go for it. That's half the fun, is just finding something to play with in the body. And notice that as you start to straighten and bend that front knee, it just sinks you. Are you more enlightened? No. The enlightenment really is coming from what you're thinking about what this actually means, which is very little. Right? Lift the heart up. Beautiful. Let's take that hands to the floor. We're going to spin that back heel to the midline, turning the toes out, making sure there's space between the heels for our hips. And then take that right arm, wrap it around the left hip, reach the left arm forward. Back heel rooted, front knee stays bent. We feel pulled up through the back of the heart and then pull the legs towards each other. Release that back arm. Palms together. Beautiful. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the mat. Move through a vinyasa. Left leg. Up and back. Sweep it forward towards the left thumb. Make your way up into a lunge. Back knee can bend. Hips and ribs coming towards each other. Front knee stays bent. Heart starting to lift, and from here, as the front knee bends, maybe the back heel reaches back a little bit more. Feel the heart being drawn up. Breathe. One last breath up here. As we exhale, we'll find the mat. Turn the back heel to the midline. Have some space between the heels. Toes out 30 degrees. Left arm comes around. Right arm reaches forward. From here again, front knee stays bent as we feel drawn up to the back of the heart. Pull the legs towards each other. Release the back arm. Palms together, look up. Exhale, both hands to the floor. Vinyasa. Or if you're tired, downward dog. If you're really tired, child's pose. Beautiful. Couple breaths. Using the blocks if you want for your hands to make the pose feel a little different. Now, if you do have the blocks underneath your hands, then let's try to make our way back to the front with a little hop. It's so much easier when we have longer arms. So bend your knees, look forward, make sure that your blocks are very secure on the mat, and then just lift your hips and softly hop forward. Hold. Inhale into your flat back. Exhale, release to the mat. Press down to the floor, lift yourself up, arms overhead, palms together. Hands slide down to your heart. Heart up into your hands. Keep the heart lifted, release your hands, and just take a moment before we move on for Sun 2 to notice how you're doing. So yeah, we started quick. Did that change the what you were expecting from today's practice? Love a good expectation, right? So just being, are you comfortable? Is everything still working? Are you staying true to your intentions? All right, so we get to start again, because every minute we get to start again. If your intentions were forgotten, here we go. Let's begin them again. Bring our hands to our heart up into our hands. Excellent. Exhale. We're going to have a seat back. Sweep the arms down beside us and back behind us. Reach the crown of the head forward. Lift the hips back. So we're kind of like in a diving position. Now bring the palms to face each other. As we exhale and bend our knees, we're going to sweep the arms up, coming into Uttanasana. Beautiful. Exhale, sweep the hands back, come back into that dive. Exhale, bend again, sweep up, Uttanasana. Last time like that. Exhale, and inhale, sweep up. Hold, 1 breath. Hold, 2 breaths. Pull the shins back a little bit. Hopefully you can wiggle your toes. 3, maybe still a little lower. Exhale, peel yourself over the front of your legs, fold forward, hands to the mat. On your inhale, hands to your shins, lengthen. Keep that length, bend your knees, plant your hands to the floor, step back into your plank pose. Hold plank. Hold. 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 Then drop the knees if you need to. We're going to roll ourselves a little forward, come into Chaturanga. Hold. 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 Drop all the way to the floor, loop the shoulders, come up into Cobra, maybe upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right. So our next inhale, let's take that right leg up. I'm going to sweep it forward towards the right thumb. We'll start off in Warrior One pose, so just make your way all the way up into your classic pose. And then we'll exhale, open up Warrior Two. Okay, so I have heard that some people find it very uncomfortable, this pose, trying to level off the hip. We always find ourselves kind of stuck in this position. So a nice little hack is, again, to take your block and step on your block. It's like doing Warrior Two with one heel on. And see if that feels better. And if it does, there's something to play with. Again, it's all just about figuring out ways to make the body feel the most comfortable. All right, from here, we're going to straighten that front leg. And exhale, bend it. Inhale, lift that front leg up, straighten it. Exhale, bend. As we bend it, make sure that it's tracking the center of that foot. 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. We'll drop the back hand, spin the front palm up, come make your way into your exalted warrior. Feel that right shoulder melt down the back. See if you can spin that heart up towards the hand in the air, and imagine the heart being drawn up towards that hand. Breathe. Bend that front knee a little bit more. Make sure that it's, or know that it's tracking the center of that front foot. Exhale back through your Warrior Two. Straighten that front leg, and if you're on the block, you're going to press into that leg, lift, take your foot off the block. Okay, so we don't want to, yeah. And then we'll make our way to the mat. Move through a vinyasa. Again, if you're tired of vinyasas, you know you don't have to do them. Some people love them. We're going to come forward, make our way up into that first classic Warrior One stance. Exhale, open up Warrior Two. And again, I'll use the block for just the demo for this time. So we lift ourselves up onto the block. Make sure that the block is rooted into the floor. Doesn't make your knee angle, doesn't give you an opportunity to create a right angle that you've always been wanting, right? So there you go. I'm going to straighten that front leg. Exhale, bend it. Inhale. And exhale. 3, 4. And here's our last one. We'll drop into our exalted warrior. Feel that left shoulder melt, feel the heart lift. Feel the front knee moving more forward, pulling the legs towards each other. Last breath. Exhale back through your warrior. And again, we're just gonna step off that mat off that block as we make our way through vinyasa. Downward dog. Inhale, lift the heels up nice and high. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way back to the front. Fold. Bend your toes together, knees together, ankles together. Have a seat. Uttanasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Beautiful. Let's do another set. Bend your knees, sweep up through your Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Make your way, go through your Vinyasa. We'll take our right leg forward, move right into Warrior Two this time. Beautiful. Drop the back hand. We'll make our way through Exalted Warrior. And then let's stretch that front leg straight as we make our way into Triangle Pose. Reaching the bottom ribs towards that right hand. Feeling the right buttock tuck under. Making sure that left shoulder stays lined up against the wall behind us. And also putting more of the weight into that back leg. So the front knee loves to lock out. And I want you to press the big toe mound down a little bit more so it doesn't. You can also imagine that your right foot is pressing into the right hand as opposed to the right hand pressing into the foot. That'll also give you a little bit better softness to that front leg. And just left arm lifts up. So we have our blocks here and we are all ready for our half moon. So you're going to take your block in your right hand. You're going to bring it about 6-10 inches kitty corner to your baby toe. And you're going to press into that, trying to lift yourself up gracefully. And if not, we'll try again, because I certainly did it the first time. So plant that block. Roll yourself or push into that block, lifting the left leg up. Once it's up, press the inseam of that left leg away from you as the right buttock tucks under. For balance, looking down is easiest. So if you're finding that you've got good balance here and you can take that left arm and reach it up towards the sky, great. Next is time to turn your head up to that hand in the air. And notice how that takes the weight out of that big toe mound. So just root it down. Know that you can stay here in this pose. Beautiful. 2 more breaths. It is so much nicer with the block, isn't it? All right, start to slowly bend that right knee again. We're going to reach that left leg back. Make your way through your Warrior Two. Drop the back hand into an exalted one last moment. And then all the way down and through your Vinyasa. One last side and then we'll take a bit of a break. So left leg comes forward. Make our way up through your Warrior Two. Drop the back hand as we come through our Exalted Warrior. And we're going to stretch it into reverse triangle pose, lifting the heart up. And then take the hips back as you reach the bottom ribs forward towards that left hand. Right shoulder lines up with the left one. Back heel roots into the floor. Left foot or left leg presses into the left arm. Right arm reaches up. Keep breathing. So coming into half moon here, we bend our front knee, we grab our block. We take the block with us about 6 to 10. I like to do my torso length. Right, so I'm not crowded in here. I've got space, I'm expanded. I'm reaching out through that right foot. Lifting that right arm up in the air. The big toe mound loves to come off the floor, so we re-root it down. From here, you can start to turn your head up. And if you find that that's just challenging, then keep looking down. That's fine. Excellent. One last breath up here. Start to bend that standing leg, reach that right leg back. Plant it to the floor. Excellent. All the way through your vinyasa. And then as you get down, and instead of downward facing dog, you can come into child's pose. And use your hands to inch your hips back towards your heels. If that allows your head not to come to the floor, again, we have these blocks to take advantage of dropping the weight from our minds. How are we doing on time? Okay. So start to make your way back up. Plant the hands, downward facing. And you can just walk yourself to seated, or you can hop to seated. Okay, so some fun block work. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the blocks between our thighs and come to the mat. We're gonna feel our low back press down into the mat, and we're gonna lift those legs up. Now you can notice as you squeeze the legs together that you're already doing work. So you don't have to do more, right? So this could be it for you completely. But if you'd like to do more, we're gonna add a little oblique work here by taking the hands behind our head, and again, you don't have to. You can just reach the right arm over to the left side. This just adds a little bit extra weight. But what we want to do to make sure that our head is not working is bring the elbows together. Let the head rest into the arms. Squeeze the block. Take your right elbow towards the left knee. Squeeze. You can draw the knees in a little closer if you want. And then come back down. Exhale. Squeeze in the second leg. Now notice here how much your head wants to get involved. It's very challenging not to. Another way to not have the head involved is to keep your hands out to the side.
I didn't get that. Would you try again?
Isn't that interesting? Reach. Inhale, come back.
Try again.
And to the second side. And just keep going. Okay. And then just take a moment. You can release the block for a second. All right, so the next one's a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting as well. Back of the arm and knee squeeze together. The opposite legs can be out. So the action here is this. This is kind of contracting the whole right side of the body. And we're going to take the other arm and leg, draw the elbow and knee together, and then stretch. Now, low back is flat to the floor here. Exhale, elbow and knee come together. Inhale, stretch away. 3, we're doing 10. 4, 5, 6, keep pressing the low back to the floor. 7, 8, 9, And 10, good. Excellent, hold, reach. And then just relax. Take a moment. Moving to the second side. So left knee, elbow, but more of the upper arm squeezed together. Low back presses to the mat. Okay, opposite arm and leg reach away and come together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one. Good stuff. Reach them away. And then relax. You can bring your knees together, let your arms spread apart for a moment. Breathe. Okay, so again, since we have our blocks here, let's take advantage of them for our bridge pose. So either you're just gonna sit on the sacrum, so it's the tailbone kind of hangs kind of down, but it's reaching towards the front of the mat, not down towards the floor. So notice that difference. It looks different too. This actually does not feel good. You feel your low back here, so just make sure that your sacrum is flat. Now this is stage 1. If this is too high, you can always come on the lower version, just like a little mini bridge. If you want, you can come up onto the highest. So whatever makes most sense to you, if you can hold onto the edge of the mat, roll the shoulders under. You can also interlace the hands behind the back, which will also roll the shoulders under. Press the wrists and elbows into the floor, lift the heart. So what I love about this pose is it makes doing kind of tricks much easier. You can lift the leg. You don't have to put any extra weight anywhere. The body feels relaxed here. You can point your toe and flex it. And point and flex. And try to do some big circles with the foot. Try to make your circles through the ankles nice and round. Switch directions. Beautiful. And then let's take that right foot and cross it on top of the left knee and just drop the knee open. So a little thread the needle, hug the outer hips towards each other. So remember, the back of the head is still on the mat, the chin is lifted, the heart is still coming towards the chin even though it's lifted. Beautiful. All right, one last one here. We're going to draw the knee towards our chest as maybe we start to straighten that left leg a little bit. So if you have the balance to stay here and draw that right knee in a little bit more, it's a nice hip flexor stretch for the left leg. You can feel it, I'm sure. Beautiful. And then grabbing hold of the outside of the mat again, pulling the shoulders under, bend that left knee, drop that right foot. And just come back into neutral. Set yourself up for the second side. You're gonna press down through the right foot and lift the left knee up. You can lift that leg up towards the spine. Point the toe. Flex. And some circles with that foot. Switch directions. Beautiful. And then we're going to take that foot, bring it on top of the right knee, slide the foot back so it's flush with the outside of the right foot, and drop the left knee towards the floor. Hug the outer hips towards each other. Breathe. Heart lifted. Chest up. Chin lifted. Back of the head is on the mat, not the neck at all. Okay, last one. We're going to slide that knee in towards the chest. And if you can release the hands without falling over, grab hold of that knee, do it. You can also start to slide that right leg straight. Beautiful. And then holding on to the block, see if you can straighten both legs. If it's too much, keep them bent. It's a lot of work in the hip flexors. If it's too much, don't do it. You can hold on to the edges of the mat again, tailbone reaching forward, not down towards the floor. Breathe. And then we're going to slide our legs back in, come back into that first position. All right, last pose in this kind of shape we're going to come into is supported shoulder stand. Okay, so this position right here, so I'm turning my head, you really shouldn't. So just letting you know. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to talk like this. Shoulders roll under, heart stays lifted. If you feel that you can lift up the second leg, go for it. But if you find that you feel wobbly, couple things you can do. One, we are always more comfortable when we are lower to the ground. So you can always come lower. It's the same pose. So, a supported shoulder stand, reverse process, our feet higher than our heart. It's a good opportunity to kind of play around with our circulation a little bit. Keep reaching up through your feet. Chest still coming to the chin, chin still lifted up towards the ceiling. You want to try to stay in a shoulder stand position, in a position where the feet are higher than the heart for about 10, 15, maybe 20 breaths. So let's just do another 5 up here. Excellent. And then slowly begin to bend your knees. You can place one foot down, then the other. What's really fascinating is as you try to lift the hips up here, they're going to feel really heavy. So what I tend to do is come up onto my tiptoes, shoulders still rolled in, press into the feet. And then slowly, slowly bring the hips back down towards the floor. Spread the back out, let's draw the knees to the chest, give them a nice big hug. Rock a little bit from side to side. And we'll come into a little boat twist. So we're in this position already. If you want, you can move your hips over to the left about an inch, then bring the knees back up. We're gonna look over our left shoulder, and again, we have blocks, so we're gonna take advantage of them by making this pose feel a little bit more sublime. So the side of the block is where the calf is gonna rest. As you keep that left shoulder on the ground, find the blocks and just let the right hand draw the left knee so that the knees are more together. Bring your mind's eye here back to your breathing and see if you can feel the shape of your spine at the moment. And notice that as you breathe, can you actually feel the spiral as you breathe? All right, we're going to turn our head back through center, lift our legs up. Now, if you moved your hips over to the left, you're going to place your feet down, lift up, move over to the right about 2 inches. Bring the block over to the other side, knees together as we release them down to the left until the calves find the block. And then the left hand finds the top knee, reaching it a little bit more forward so that they line up a little. Right shoulder still rooted to the mat. We're looking over at it. Bring our mind's eye back to the shape of our spine and how we breathe through that shape. Excellent. All right, lift back up. Draw the knees to your chest. And then let's roll ourselves over to the side and start to make our way up. Now, find your blocks again. And come into a wide angle. I guess one block is enough. Press the heels into the floor, pull the legs back, sit up nice and tall. So consider this position like a wide angle Dandasana, where the legs actually have a roll to help the spine sit up taller. And feel the work that it takes. Actually, one of the ways to know how much work it takes, take your hands behind you and press the legs away, and then find that you're sitting on the sit bones and tailbone again, rooted, and then see if you can lift the arms up over your head, reaching those legs. So if you just felt the whole body just kind of sink, that's the work that your core is doing. So that's what we're looking for in this position, is that work through the core. From here, we're just going to start to hinge at the hips. And inhale, come back up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come back up. So we want to start to feel a little bit like our dollies when we were kids. You know? Our dollies they were plastic, they didn't have the ability to move their torsos. We want to kind of feel like that. This time as we inhale, hinge, we'll keep going, and if you can rest your hands on your blocks. Bring your mind's eye back into your legs. Have they changed? And bring them back into that first position that the heels were pressing down and drawing back towards the hips. The legs are super active, rooting into the floor, helping the torso lengthen up and away.
Couple more breaths here. Beautiful. And then come back up. We're going to take our left hand out to the left. Take our right arm and just start to stretch up and over. Actually, blocks help on this one too. So slide. Take that right arm, reach it all the way up and over. Press down through that right sit bone and see if you can just heart reaching up. So we're so dying to come down to reach that foot. For most of us, it's, you know, just contorting ourselves. So one of the ways that you can kind of use the powers to come up a little higher. So find the block. I actually just like to lift the heart up. Sometimes I'll use the block for a little extra weight. Reaching that block away. Coming back up. Right arm reaches. Left arm lifts up and over. Left sit bone still connected deeply into the mat. If you want a little extra weight in the arm, reach the block away. Inhale all the way back up. And one last time we'll come forward, seeing if it's taken us anywhere. So a lot of times that second time down is a lot easier. Hopefully it feels good. Inhale, come on back up. Bend your knees. Give them a shake. And choices here, you can stay up for a minute. We've got a lot of hip opening done for a seated practice, but you know, if you're tired, make your way down to the mat for a long Shavasana. If you're seated, you can use your blocks again, or if you've got a cushion, and just begin your centering again, you're checking in. Always interesting to notice the difference between your check-in at the beginning of practice and your check-in at the end of practice. Once again, just pay attention to the sensations in your body. Are they the same as they were at the beginning? Are they different? So feel free to make your way down to the floor for our final pose, Shavasana. You put on your extra layers, get yourself nice and cozy. Here again, checking out the body. How do you feel? Do you feel different than you did when you first came in? Are there areas that, need still a little love, a little attention? Today's little reading is a poem by Reverend Sapphire Rose called She Let Go. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. She just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her daytimer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it was just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and moon shone forevermore. Here's to giving ourselves the gift of letting go. There's only one guru, you. So you can begin to deepen your breath. As the energy made its way through you and down through your arms and your legs. Encourage more movement by wiggling back at that sensation moving in through the breath. Stretch and yawn. Every direction that feels good. When you've stretched in every way you need to, take a little time on your side, recognizing the transition from practice into your day, but taking these few moments just for yourself to be. How delightful. When you're ready, you'll make your way up to seated. You can sit up nice and tall. And we'll bring our hands to our heart up into our hands. Offering ourselves this prayer of gratitude, this opening up to all that we have already. And inviting just a few of the precious blessings that we have to cross over our minds to see what we've got, to fill up our hearts just a little bit more. We'll take a moment to offer this feeling, this gratitude, this openness, this pleasure to this beautiful community of ours that helped us get here anyhow, so may as well enjoy some of the benefits as well. And notice just that thinking about it makes you feel better, or perhaps we are receiving what we're all giving each other. So either way, so awesome. We'll end our practice with the sound of one Om. Take a nice big inhale. Big exhale through the mouth. Inhaling to Om. Just feeling how that vibration roots you even more into the earth. Let your heart lift up just a little higher. And as a reminder that our thoughts should always be filtered through our hearts, we bring our hands from our head back to our hearts where they belong. Namaste.
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 Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.